Hi everyone! In this video I'm going to share some of my top tips for fellow young CEOs. Now I couldn't find a definitive source of the average age of CEOs in the UK, but the articles I read suggested that the average age falls somewhere between 50 to 55. Therefore, I would suggest that anyone is a young CEO if they fall below that age. So that includes you if you're in your 40s all the way down to if you're in your 20s or even teens. Now, the difference is that the impacts of being a young CEO will become more and more pronounced with every year below that average. So I first became a CEO when I was 23, and so I've spent my career thus far falling into that category of young CEO, and I still have a couple of decades to go before I age into that average range. So I thought it'd be useful to reflect on some of the tips that I wish that I had known when I first became a young CEO. My first tip is to stop trying to prove to everyone that you belong at the table. You're already at the table. If you founded your own organization, then you are the world's foremost expert on your organization. If you're recruited into the position, then that means a panel of experts judge that you are worthy of that role. So whenever you start to doubt yourself and think, God, I'm too young to be here, remember that you are worthy of being at that table. Being on the defensive and constantly trying to justify your role will only undermine your self-confidence and your credibility to everyone else. You made it for a reason, so own that reason. My second tip is linked to this, which is to realize that capability does not equal experience. Yes, there is a correlation between experience and capability. Often people who have devoted themselves to something for years and decades will be more capable than a complete rookie, and that does need to be recognised. But you also need to recognise the other side of that, which is that people can become so stuck in ineffective and outdated approaches, refusing to adapt and change over time, so that someone completely new to a situation can have a fresh perspective and identify improvements because they've not become ingrained in the way things are done. So don't equate your capability to your experience, and don't do this for other team members or other stakeholders either. Demonstrate your capability through your actions and allow everyone else the ability to do so as well. My third tip is to accept that everyone has noticed how young you are, and because of your age, they will have made certain preconceptions about you. Now these could be positive, like you're the next up-and-coming person in a sector, someone who's going to shake up the status quo, or they could be negative, that you must be incompetent because of your inexperience. Now just remember with all of this that we all make snap judgments of each other based on first impressions, and if it wasn't your age, then something else would have elicited a biased initial belief about you. So just accept that your age is a noticeable aspect of you and move on. It's only one aspect of who you are, so don't limit yourself by it. Be your whole self. And those who have an open mind will move on with you, and those who don't would have had a closed mind view of you regardless of your age. You can't change that, so there's no point worrying about it. Following on from this, I'd also recommend that you're mindful of how you present yourself. As I just said, we all make snap judgments about each other, and we all judge each other's age by visual clues. And so this is something that you can influence and you can alter based on how you present yourself. So just walking into a room with a straight back and good posture projects that you have a right to be there, and people will generally accept it. Having a firm handshake, good eye contact, good social skills will imply a maturity that people assume comes with age. And little things like the way you dress or wear your hair or apply your makeup, all of this projects an impression of age. And you can use this to project the age you want. It could be that you want to draw attention to your youth, it could be that you want to deflect attention away, or it could be that you want to highlight a completely different aspect of your identity, so that's noticed first. All I'm saying with this is that self-presentation is powerful, so my tip is to be intentional with it. My fifth and final tip is to recognize when you may need an older ally. So unfortunately, age-related prejudices do exist, and they can be detrimental to young CEOs, as well as CEOs that are significantly older than that average age. your age may automatically outgroup you in some situations. And I've often experienced this when I've attended external meetings with other organizational leaders, where everyone else is at least the average age of the CEO or older. And logically, I get this. When you're the same age as someone's children, it can be difficult for that person to take you seriously. And the ways this is played out is, sometimes people talk over me or ignore me if I've said something in a meeting, or they might take a comment I just made, repeat it, and then the group will assign them credit for that comment. And it can be really frustrating, and it can be a real blow to your self-confidence. And I'm not trying to downplay that, but my tip is, in these situations where it's important that you are accepted into the in-group, I find it useful to identify someone within the group that's a credible and respected member. And then I look for opportunities to work with that individual on a one-to-one basis away from everyone else. For example, when a meeting splits into smaller task groups, or by actively engaging them when everyone's milling around during a break. And I find that people tend to be a lot more accepting in a one-to-one setting, and much more likely to revert to biases and stereotypes when in a group setting. So building a positive relationship with that person away from everyone else will help them to start to see you as a member of their in-group, and they will then start to treat you as such in a group meeting. And this is really powerful because when one or more of a group starts to treat you with respect and recognition, the rest of the group tends to follow. And this helps build you into that in-group and build those positive interactions with everyone else as well. So I hope these 5 tips will help you navigate some of the main challenges of being a young CEO. If you are a young CEO and you've got other tips that you think would be helpful to someone who falls on that lower end of the CEO age scale, then please do pop them in the comment section below. I know I'd love to read them and maybe learn from you and improve how I do things. But in any case, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Bye.